Hello, host Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People. And tonight I'm here with Johny and Abraham and Carlos.
Who's asleep back there?
I'm going to be talking specifically to Johny. Abraham's sick. He's bringing disease into my home. Thanks, Abraham. Appreciate that. Anyway, Johny, so I'm going to ask you some questions.
Already.
You wake up. You're in a room. You're in pajamas. You're on the floor.
Alright.
You're on a little pad of some sort, not very thick. And around you are a bunch of other people, also sleeping in pajamas on the floor. You have no idea how you got there. You went to bed last night, normal, in your own bed. You woke up. What the hell? Who are these people around? What do you do?
What do I do? Do I know these people or no?
You don't recognize any of them.
I'll probably just check my phone, see my last messages, see what happened.
You don't have your phone. You're just in pajamas.
I'll probably check outside the window, see if I can find out where I'm at.
There are no windows.
There are no windows.
It's just an endless
Probably
void.
engage the person that's awake and say what's
You're the
going on.
only one, the first one to wake up. Everyone else is still asleep.
Ask myself, what the fuck happened last night? What the fuck?
Okay, so you're in a room. You've determined there's no windows. What do you do next?
In a room, no window. Probably wake someone up.
Okay, so you wake someone up.
Politely.
There are people of varying ages and genders. So you've got a few children. You've got some like teenage women, teenage girls. And you've got adult women. You've got teenage boys. You've got adult men. You've got old people, old men, old women. Who do you wake up?
The
Probably-
hottest chick.
And you got black people, white people, races of all sorts. And
Probably someone the same age as me.
someone the same age as you.
Yeah.
Okay. Same gender or female?
Probably. Nah, probably.
Abraham, I am trying to ask Johny and find out about Johny, not have you
Probably
interfere with
same
my
gender.
testing. Huh?
Same gender.
Okay. So you wake up a dude, he's like, "Hi, I'm 19 years old. My name is Steven. Where are we? What's going on?" says Steven.
And what do I say after that?
Yeah.
I say that's exactly what I'm trying to find out too.
Well, you appear to be wearing pajamas. I am too. Why is that, I wonder?
I have no idea, but where are these pajamas from?
I don't know. Let's look. I'm going to look at the tag on my pajamas. Oh, it appears they're Sears brand pajamas.
I'll be like, fuck, whoever got these first has money in them.
Is Sears expensive?
Yeah.
Sears brand pajamas? Okay, so what do you do now? Steven says, so what do we do now? Says Steven.
Is there a door?
Oh, there is a door. Remarkable.
Open that door and go outside.
It's locked.
What?
Kick that bitch out.
You're gonna kick it down?
I go to the gym. I can kick a door. I
Okay.
can
This
boot
is
a
a
door.
very interesting story.
You can kick it down. Okay, fine. You kick it down.
Alright.
There's a long hallway, and it goes in either directions, and then it goes to the end of the hallway, goes this way, and you can't see what's at the end of the hallway. You want to go right or the left?
I'm gonna probably take left.
Okay. You go down the hall, you come out, and there's a door that leads to outside, and there's some tropical plants and stuff outside. Or there's a door that leads to what appears to be some sort of laboratory, but you can't really see from where you are. Which one do you go in?
Laboratory.
Okay. What are you looking for?
A lab scientist.
A lab scientist. Okay. You go in there, and lo and behold, you're in luck. There's a lab scientist. His name is Javier.
Alright.
And
Yeah.
you can tell this because it's got it written on his shirt, Javier, and he's got a white coat, and he
Is that
says,
the janitor?
and he says, "Oh, what are you doing in here? You're supposed to stay in that room."
That's your
What do you say?
I say, why am I in that room? What's going on? Where am I?
Because that's where you are supposed to be. Now go back in the room.
I'll be like, hell no. And I'll try the next room, the tropical forest. I'll be like, fucking
He says, "Look, you have to go back in there. I'm gonna call the guards if you don't. Now you go back in that room."
I'll say, you can sound the alarm, you can call out your guards, you can fence in your yard, you can pull on the cards, but I Fuck.
Is that what you're gonna sing to
That's
him?
what I was saying.
Okay, so he says, well, that's a nice song, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to call the guards now. And he starts to walk over to an old-fashioned landline phone.
An old-fashioned landline? Oh my god. It's like some Twilight Zone stuff. Right?
So what do?
Does the phone have a cord?
Yeah, it's a landline.
I'll
So
probably
that's my
rip
point.
that cord. Pull that.
What? So are you gonna run over to the wall and pull the
Eric,
phone out of the wall before he
Can you
gets
take
the phone?
selfies with that? Like,
No.
I'll probably rip the
Abraham,
cord.
we stop.
hey, I'm obsessed.
I'm trying to find out about your friend's brain.
Okay.
So you rip the wall, the phone out of the wall.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, "Hey, now you owe me $10. That was $10 worth of phone cord destruction you just engaged in."
Uh-huh.
And then he goes and starts walking towards the door, and he says, "I'll just go get them myself. I'll fetch them."
What would I do next?
Yeah, what do you do?
I'll go run after him and the door is shut and tell him no, not until I get some answers. Where am I? What happened? What's going on?
All right, so now you've got to shut into the laboratory, and he's like, "Well, I'll tell you, it's important. That's all I can tell you. It's important." What do you say?
I'll say, is this some type of personal gain thing? Am I being hurt? Am I a fucking guinea pig? What the fuck is going on?
That's good. That's an interesting line of questioning. All right, well, yeah, I don't know what the answer is, obviously. There's nothing to the story. There's no conclusion to it because I don't know what's going on. What I was doing there is trying to figure out how your brain prioritizes things. And here's what I'll point out in the aftermath. That your first real reaction to being in the room was to pursue the assistance of another person,
Yeah.
rather than to go off by yourself and do something by yourself and figure it out by yourself, right? So that's indicative probably of F above T in the stack, so to speak, which means in the cognitive stack, everybody has one feeling cognitive function, one thinking cognitive function, one one sensing cognitive function, and one intuitive cognitive function. And usually, if you have extroverted feeling, especially up higher in the stack, then you're going to pursue solutions to problems through other people more as a default. So I'd suggest that you probably have FE fairly higher in the stack than, say, whatever your but see, the other thing is, if it were TE, if it were extroverted thinking, you might also still seek to organize other people, but you didn't seek to give orders, right? When you woke him up, you asked him basically, like, well, what should we do? Or, like you sought connection with another person, and the two of you would figure it out together, kind of a thing, rather than I'm going to tell you what to do, which would be more extroverted thinking. All right, so then when you leave the room and you go down the hall, and I asked you which way you want to go, left or right. You didn't ask for a lot more details about the scene before making a decision. You didn't ask for any more details. You didn't say, like, well, what does it look like down that way, or what does it look like down that way? And so what that tells me is, like me, you're probably somebody who prefers to explore first before you analyze, right? Which means you probably extroverted intuition somewhere rather than introverted intuition, would be my guess. But at least that would be what that would lead one to conclude if it were consistent with other things in general. So then the next thing I would note is that when we get to the lab, when we get to the choice between the lab and the outside, you choose the lab. And when I ask you why, what you're looking for, again, you're looking for a person. And so my conclusion is you choose the lab because you think it's more likely to contain a person rather than, because that's what you told me, rather than going outside. As opposed to, for example, I mean, you could interpret those results of the answer to that question in a lot of different ways. Because on the one hand, there's nature outside. So somebody who's really drawn to nature might be take the nature approach. I think at the other, for me, I would take I would go outside for sure, because I'd be thinking, get me out, right? Get me away from the captors, whatever they are. They're captors as soon as you discover the door is locked. My thought process is get me out of there, right? So it's interesting that you assume good, right? You assume that whoever you're going to meet in there is going to be a good person. And then when I ask you how to deal with it by saying, well, he's not a good person and he's going to try to call the guards, you don't ever attack him, which is interesting. Which suggests, I don't know what that suggests. You just say, you pull the phone out of the wall, which is smart. You have a lot of clever solutions to your things, right? Instead of tackling it, you run and shut the door. You avoid physical confrontation successfully, despite the fact that I'm trying to push you towards physical confrontation in the story, right? I'm not exactly sure what that reflects or not. And then, basically, you want explanation before you want anything else. You're not looking for, I want to be taken home right now. I don't care what this place is or what it is. I want you to take me home. You're saying I want answers. I want explanation. So that would also suggest to me a certain tendency towards NE, extroverted intuition, as a cognitive function. Basically, what I see is not S heavy particularly, although your solutions in the laboratory are still S-style solutions, because you're not saying to him something. You don't say, wait, stop, let's talk about this. What can I offer you? You don't do that, right? You run over and do something, which would suggest more of an S approach in my mind than an N approach. S people will be action-oriented. So, I don't know. I would guess that the other thing is, though, because you avoid physical confrontation, would suggest a prioritization of certain values, internal values, which would suggest maybe it's FI instead of FE. And if we had FI, NE, SE, and TI, can you have, what's that combination? Can you have that one? I don't know. What did I just say? I said, okay, FI instead of FE. If we had FI, but see, I don't know. FE seems logical. It would probably be FE and I, maybe, I don't know. And then SE. See, I'm pretty sure about the SE and the FE. And then that would be TI. Anyway, I don't know. That's 13 minutes of me. Now, most of it was just me talking about the analysis after the fact and me going through the thought process on camera, which is really dumb. I will stop this video and elicit any of you guys' comments on what you think his personality type is, if anybody watches this and has any thoughts. So, under 15 minutes, fair amount of time. Thank you very much, Johnny, for participating. And I would like to pause this for a second, actually. Alright, so I want to get these guys' thoughts on what I just said, and I just looked up if it were NISEFETI, then the possibilities would be ENFJ, INFJ, and ENFP. No, that wouldn't be right. That's not right. Oh, I see. It would be ENFJ or it would be INFJ. Those are the two possible choices if that were right. Now, if I had the NI and the SE, if I had the TI and the, I don't know. If I had, cause see what I get the feel I get from my read on it was, anyway. What do you guys here think about what I said about that stuff? Abraham, you were saying something.
I think he's an ENFJ.
You think he's another ENFJ?
I think so, because I find that I want to say that we have similar traits.
Do you find yourself in general going like, oh my God, you and I are so much alike? With him? No, not that much.
That's mainly like most of my friends.
You feel that way about most of your friends?
Yeah.
Do you feel that way about him?
Yeah, I mean, I laugh with him a lot.
You think you're similar?
Like our humor is the same. Like we can both laugh at the same things.
But see, Jonathan has like that leader type of thing.
So do you.
Yeah.
I mean, so that would make sense, I guess.
So maybe that leader thing comes into play my whole life because in middle school we had a group of friends, but they always saw me as the
It
head
was
of
like
it.
that. Yeah.
Like literally anywhere I walked, literally the rest of the 20 would follow me.
Yeah,
To the point where I try to leave on purpose. just so they would
Jonathan
stop
had
following me.
like his little posse.
Is it because you were nice to everybody, or is it because you were a dick, or what?
Just
I was really nice, I guess.
You were
Really
nice.
Just chill, yeah.
I guess people looked at me and said, "Hey, like this guy, like, we have a problem." I don't know.
But see, like, there's a lot of instances in which, like, we'll have issues amongst us friends, and the way we settle them, the way that Jonathan sometimes settled his issues between his friends, or like between our circle of friends, you know what I mean? I find them sometimes that there are some of the things that I find myself would do in a situation like that. You know what I mean? The way he deals with issues like associated with like the friends within our circle or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting, yeah. Well, I'm struck by the fact that, I mean, because if I've analyzed you before, I don't remember analyzing you, but I certainly didn't use that exact approach before. And I'm struck by the fact that it produced FENISETI, and I looked it up and it said ENFJ, because I don't remember this stuff. Like, people might assume, given how much I talk about this, that I have these things memorized. I do not have them memorized. And it's an example of my poor SI. I do not have a good memory. So when I say FENISETI, I have no idea which types that is. I have to look it up on the internet every single time. Except my own, I remember my own. I remember INTP and ENTP, right? So that's really interesting. That's encouraging to hear, actually. It suggests some sort of legitimacy or something. I don't know. It would also make sense that you guys would have found each other if you're both the same type and you get along well. Certain types get along well with each other, I think, and certain types don't necessarily get along well with each other. I don't think ENTPs in general get along well with each other. But that's because I wouldn't have woken anybody up. I would have first found the door. I would have just left them all sleeping in there. I totally would have left them all sleeping in there.
Oh my god.
And I would not have gone to the laboratory. I would have gone outside and checked shit out. And when I felt like I had a good handle on what everything was going on, then I'd go back in there and wake them up and tell them what to do, right? Because I would have figured it all out.
See, I would go backwards.
But the thing about waking people up, the reason I didn't want to wake more than one person up is because I didn't know who was friend, I didn't know who was foe. So how can I give orders to an enemy?
So you were satisfied with that's true.
The reason I picked someone my age was because if they were an enemy, I could knock them out.
But see, they're all in the room. You're more suspicious than me because they're all in apparently the same situation as you. I just assume. And when I was telling the story, it never occurred to me that anybody else sleeping in the room would be bad. That would never have been an option in the story because it never would have occurred to me because they're all in pajamas.
But the thing is that maybe the pajamas was some sort of like maybe like an orange suit type of thing in jail. Like maybe I ended up with this being locked up when I didn't deserve it, and so I'm locked up with a bunch of crazies. So why would I want to wake up with a bunch of crazies to attack me?
But see, I feel like now they're just like a bunch of what ifs. Like how could I have like told the story? Because now it's very easy to sit down and think about it. But think about it when you wake up in the heat of the moment. Your first initial reaction was the first one you told us.
Right. Well, the other thing is, it's just I think it's a good way to put it, Abraham. Let's stop with that. You just ended well. Thank you. Thanks for watching Talking with Famous People. Goodbye.